All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with James Lockwood. And like I said, this is the perfect guest to have. Ironically, he was scheduled before everything that took place yesterday. But, James, I'm coming in hot, man. Tell me, how difficult is it for a fighter like Shakur? I know you probably have not worked intimately with him, but he's making 130. There's 3 belts on the line, WBC, WBO, and the ring lineal, and he opts not to take the extra 2 hours to take off that 1 pound, 6 ounces and keep those titles, and instead decides to pay his opponent $20,000. How difficult is that pound and a half?
It can be very difficult. It all depends on kind of what was going on in camp leading up to that, final cut, final push. And if he is not doing things properly, your body is a very efficient machine, and it can, if you stop drinking water, you're not eating the right foods, it'll really shut down, and it can be very difficult. Now, the question is, like you said, I think they gave him an hour and a half or 2 hours if he wanted to make that weight. He shut down that screen right away. He probably knew he wasn't going to make it. He was probably dry. He didn't look real fresh standing there, he was pretty expressionless. But man, to lose your belts on the scale is devastating. I would imagine he was thinking about being fresh in the fight. Taking 2 extra hours to sit in a bath or sit in a hot tub could really deplete you, and if you're expecting to perform at a very high level within 24 hours, maybe he weighed the odds and thought that was a better way to go. I don't see it personally how that could be a better way to go, but without knowing all the details, that's kind of my first thought.
Hypothetically, obviously, would you have been able to assist him in losing, or a fighter? We can remove Shakur from the equation so that no one catches any feelings, but would you be able to assist the fighter in a situation exactly like Shakur's, where he needs to lose a pound, 0.6 ounces, but also doesn't want to be a shell of himself the next night? So do you have a, routine or a method to take that weight off and also put back the nutrition and everything that he needs so that he can be optimal on Saturday night? Well, in his case, Friday night.
Right. So, yes, the attempt would definitely be made, and you would be able to tell within the first 15 to 20 to 30 minutes if that was going to be possible. And then if he's not sweating or he's not accomplishing what we're looking to accomplish in that last 2 hours, then we would shut it down for his health and take it. But it all starts at the beginning of camp. And that weight management is crucial, and doing the right things leading up to that final process is crucial. So to answer your question, yes, the attempt would have been made, and then we shut it down if his health is going to be in jeopardy and his performance the next day would be in jeopardy.
What exactly is your job title?
I am a performance nutritionist.
And what does that entail? Give us detail.
So to optimize the human body so you're functioning at optimal levels come fight night. You have all the energy you need, you have all the muscle stores you need, the glycogen, everything's there, so you can step on the gas for 12 solid rounds if you need to.
How are you any different from or what is the difference between you and Alex Ariza? Or is it the same field?
I'm not familiar with who Alex Ariza is.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, wow. So you just got into boxing?
Since 2008, I've been in this industry.
So he was notoriously Pacquiao's strength and conditioning coach. Is that, I don't know. You see the titles. That's why I asked you your specific title. Sure. I don't want to.
Because some people on the outside looking in were like, oh, they're doing the same thing. And they're like, well, no, I'm technically this.
Yeah.
And then I'm really that.
So, like, Victor Conce doesn't want to be associated or compared to a Memo Heredia. Mm-hmm. And Alex Ariza, I thought was a strength and conditioning coach, but he did make the magic shakes for Pacquiao. So that's why I said, what is your title?
Sure.
And then what separates you, or what is the differences between some of those very famous high level strength and conditioning coach? I mean, what do you call them? Are they nutritionists as well?
I mean, I don't really know, because it's like you're there cooking for these guys every day. I don't know that.
See, so that would be some of the differences. I don't think that Victor Conce is cooking for anybody.
I don't believe he is, but I don't know 100%. I think it probably changes from camp to camp for him. But for me personally, to answer your question, yes, I specialize in full camps. Sometimes it's not a full camp. Sometimes it's 6 weeks. Sometimes it's 4 weeks. Sometimes it's just fight week. But what I'll do if I have a full camp is I'll be able to communicate with the strength and conditioning coach to understand fully how he's training. You know, is he lifting heavy? Is he running? Is he sparring? I get with the boxing coach, and then I formulate a game plan nutritionally to support those workouts and those sparring sessions and those runs.
So how do you know, based, I guess, off those verbal answers, how many calories the fighter is going to need to intake?
Well, there's tons of different ways you can track calories. You can
Okay.
use metabolic equivalents. It's basically understanding the duration and the intensity, where we are in camp with the current weight, what the goal is, the target weight, and then you formulate a plan. And then it changes all the time.
So when you say intensity, you have to physically be in the gym.
100%.
Okay, because you
100%.
wouldn't be able to know how intense the workouts are if you're not physically there.
Correct. And a lot of times, if I'm able to, I will run with the athletes.
Oh, wow.
I will train with the athletes. Definitely don't spar with them. But just to be there and understand, you can look at their body language and see how hard they're pushing, see how much they're sweating, what time they're taking to recover in between rounds or in between sessions. And then, like I mentioned before, I'll formulate a caloric number that we'll stick with, and then there's constant lines of communication that are open. How are you feeling? Get back with the coaches. Yo, what did you get everything you need from him? And then adjustments are made every single day.
So based off that so far, I'm not sure if you're going to reveal this later, but it sounds like the differences between you and Alex Ariza, and I compare you to him because obviously he would cook and make, you know, those famous Pacquiao shakes.
Gotta love the shakes.
Yeah, you don't do strength and conditioning.
I
You
do
said
not.
you work with the strength and conditioning
Very
coach.
closely, yes.
Okay.
The only thing that I do is observe when it comes to training, and like I mentioned before, if I can, I'll try to keep up, just so I have a better understanding of how hard they're pushing. And you know, these guys are savages. They're pushing as hard as they can, and their bodies go through a lot. So to make sure that you're drinking the right amount of water, getting the proper vitamins, minerals, supplements, and then just the basic nutritional macronutrients and things like that is hugely important. And the feedback is what I really rely on, because the guys will tell me, oh my goodness, I could have gone 15 rounds. I felt so great. Okay, we're right on track. Felt a little slow in that last 3 rounds. Okay, let's make an adjustment. So like I said, we come up with a game plan, but it's always evolving and changing.
So I wanted to ask, because I know I have spoke to your wife throughout this current camp for Devin, and I know you were obviously in Big Bear with Gennady.
Yes.
Talk to us about how that works, because your wife being a sports massage therapist, she was in Vegas with Devin, you were in Big Bear with Gennady. How did that work? And you know, how would it work in those situations where you can't physically be there and she'll be there, or vice versa?
So she was actually in Big Bear with us. So she worked with Gennady as well. Then she goes back and forth sometimes. But really what it is, it's not so much, we have a high level of communication, obviously. She's my wife, we talk all the time. But in addition to that, I'm communicating with Devin. Throughout the entire Triple G camp, I'm talking with Devin. How much water are you drinking? How is the body feeling? How are you eating? Where is your weight? How much time do we have? All of those things. He kept asking me, where would you like to see me by the time you get to me? Because unfortunately, I couldn't be there at the start of camp, but we still had, you know, tons of communication just to make sure that when I did get there, we weren't trying to play catch up.
So obviously you're not there to cook. Was he where you wanted him to be when you got to him?
Yeah, and really the most important thing for him is him having the proper energy. We're going to make the weight. He's a super dedicated athlete. He trusts in my process. So if we were a few pounds heavier than maybe we were the camp before, not a big deal. We'll address that when we get together. So he made it very easy for me, and my hope was that I made it very easy for him, even though we weren't together.
Now, working with Gennady, you know, one of the things that we've always said is how he has been able to stay, you know, career middleweight for the first time, moving on up to 68 for this camp. What changes, and was it difficult at all? Because you've had to keep him at this weight for a very long time. Was it easier given that you guys were going up in weight?
Yeah, definitely easier.
Okay.
Anytime you can save 8 pounds, I mean, that's a pretty big number. And I'll quote Gennady, instead of eating 3 tacos, he ate 5 tacos, jokingly. But no, it's still a meticulous process. You still have to pay very, very close attention. It's not just like, oh, we got 8 extra pounds, let's eat. Still working with Chris Camacho, his strength and conditioning coach, still working with Jonathan Banks, his boxing coach, and just to make sure that we're all on the same page. But it made fight week a breeze. We hit a target number coming into fight week, and then to have fight week be very relaxing for him and stress-free, is what we look for. And those extra few pounds came right off. We stepped on the scale at, I believe, 67.8, if I remember correctly. He was fresh, he was full, he was happy. It was a breeze.
Now, so many, like Nestor just mentioned, different names in the boxing world, but it seems like yourself and your wife have really been making, some noise. Like I said, once again, Gennady staying his entire career at 60.
Yeah.
Devin, not just winning Undisputed, but he gave you your flowers and saying how easy it was for him to make 35 in the first fight. Where do you see yourself going from here? Because you're working with the best of the best. Caleb Plant, I mean, you name it, you've worked with the best of them. So what's next from here?
I like to stay busy. I like to stay active. I enjoy working with my wife, and I enjoy working with teams where we feel comfortable and feel like family. And we're currently doing that right now. So I'm not going to get too ahead of myself, but we want to stay working with the best, and we'll see what that looks like in the future.
So you're local here in Vegas?
No, we live in Redondo Beach. We're in Southern California.
Oh, wow.
But we're here,
Often.
6-7 months out of the year sometimes, because most of the athletes are here. Badu Jack was living here. I think he just moved. Caleb Plant, as you mentioned, Devin Haney. So everybody's here. So we may be here in the future, but we'll see. We don't like paying those California taxes.
Now, what does it cost a fighter to hire you, and what does that entail? Are you giving 3 meals a day? Does it depend on what the fighter wants? Is it 2 meals and a shake? Like, what do you provide, and what does it cost?
Yeah, well, I'm not going to get into cost, really, because it changes from camp to camp and from athlete to athlete, depending on time. Sometimes I'm working with stablemates,
You can't give a round, like,
Ballpark.
anywhere from 20 to 30,000 per camp.
Yeah, so I would say 30 to 40, somewhere in there.
So it's only the best of the best that can really work with you. You don't work with up and coming prospects, not yet. They can, it's not many can afford.
If I have free time, I'm glad to help. No charge.
No. I don't mean any pro bono. I'm just saying, are there any up and comers that?
Unless it's a stablemate of a guy I'm working with. For example, Ali Akhmedov is a stablemate of Gennady Golovkin. We got Lorenzo Simpson and Amari Jones with Devin Haney. So if guys come with a team, there may be a little upcharge to get them on track, but the main focus is the superstar. I give all my attention to the guys that are in camp with them as well, and it's to answer your question. It changes with each athlete. I really look at what they've been doing before I got there. I'm not trying to come in and change everything, because that can be to a detriment. But it is usually 3 square meals a day, snacks, shakes, pre-workouts, post-workouts, and just to make sure that they're dialed in. I like to think of it as like keeping the cruise control at 60 with their metabolism. So most of them are surprised at how much we're consuming. Are you sure I can eat this? Are you sure I should drink this? Trust the process. Obviously, I tell guys, if you're feeling too full, we're going to pull back. If you're feeling like you're a little empty and you need more, we're going to get you more. So it's a process that I love to watch evolve.
So these shakes, snacks, and 3 square meals, this is coming in a box? They get in
It's fresh. It's organic. It's purchased. I'm at the store pretty much every day. We talk about a budget. You can get the best of the best when it comes to ingredients, but we all know that costs a little bit more. I could still get really quality ingredients at different stores. You're talking like Whole Foods versus Vaughn's, and then there's like a Sprouts and maybe an Albertsons in the middle somewhere there. But it's really about what the athlete needs. And if I communicate with them and say, hey, I have these superfood powders or blue-green algae or sea moss or this or that costs a little more, but I promise you're going to feel and see the difference. Then I get with their coaches how we look, and they're like, we never seen him this strong. Some of the feedback that I got from Devin's coaches were, we've never seen him this strong with this much energy and endurance this late in a camp. So that's kind of the proof is in the pudding.
Yeah, no.
So the snacks and the protein shakes, are you there to make it? Like, oh, Devin, well, not Devin because he's high profile.
Sure.
Amari and Truck get finished sparring. Are you like cooking up the
made.
or is it you send them a pack, they got it in their
No.
bag, they got to
Nope.
add it to their water shaker?
No,
you're physically
they
there.
get the same full service, 100%. They get the same full service.
So you're physically there, putting the
correct.
and
if
shaking up the shaker.
If I'm not, it's made beforehand, put in a cooler bag, so all they
Okay.
have to do is pop it open and drink it.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not. They get the highest level of service
And
possible.
how often is the food delivered? Are you delivering daily?
They come to me.
Okay.
We sit down at a table. It's coming right off the stove or right out of the oven, and it's boom, fresh. There's nothing like, oh, it's in the refrigerator.
But they
whatever
have
you
to
get.
go to you 3 times a day?
We all live together.
So when he's
Oh.
saying come to me, he's saying come to the kitchen.
Correct.
To
Because
get your
you're in the
plate.
fighter house.
Yes, I live with them.
Oh,
And
wow.
we're attached at the hip. If it's possible, I'm at training with them. If it's possible, I'm observing runs or sparring. If it's not, I have
Shit.
my wife there. She's communicating with me. I'm still communicating with the coaches. She's like, yo, the boys are on their way home. I finish the saute, put it in the oven. It's fresh out the oven when they come. Nothing comes out of a box. Nothing comes out of a bag.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's
high
like
level.
the best
of the best.
it's a full
So I'm
time job. It's
I'm-
like
Full time.
full-
I 10 to 12 hours a day, no days off. I don't know how many
Exactly.
coaches do that.
yeah, I was gonna say we're not coaches, but
We
that's
do that.
Yeah, we definitely do that.
I love it. I could appreciate it too.
James, I have to ask, not just with Devin, but just because that was most recently the trip to Australia. What is that process for you like when you're in a foreign land, and now you still have to do what you've been doing, but now it's getting closer to the fight. You're literally, the final days to make that weight. What was that like, and what is that like? Are you doing research beforehand? Do you have like grocery connects in London and in Dubai? Like, how is that like for you?
All of the above. we all heard the phrase preparation breeds success. Never been to Melbourne before. Didn't really know much about it. But I got the address to the hotel where we were staying or the Airbnb. And then I plug in grocery stores that are close to there. So I hit the ground running. Make sure that we're packing ingredients that we know we can't get in Melbourne. They're coming with us, all the special powders and supplements and
Okay.
things like that. And then there's a learning curve for sure, because I went to some of these grocery stores expecting to see what I see in the grocery stores here, and I'm like, oh, it's a little different here. So you still get some high quality meats, but you have to look a little harder for them. Some of the specialty ingredients aren't available. In Melbourne specifically,
What's a specialty ingredient?
like chlorella, blue-green algae, sea moss, even like chia seeds and things like that aren't as readily available. They may be, I just didn't know where to find them. So if there is a contact like you mentioned, I'm definitely reaching out to that person. Hey, either can you get something in advance for me? I know there's services they provide where groceries could come to you, but I really like to be hands-on because I like to see everything, because I'll go in with a game plan for like, okay, I need this, this, and this at the grocery store. But if I see it and it doesn't look up to my standards, a little old or a little wilted, or the fish has a strange color on it, we're going to scratch it and get something else going for them. So I think that's also a benefit for the athlete, because it's, everything is the best it can possibly be at all times.
How long have you been doing this? For fighters specifically?
2018 with Badu Jack was my first full
So
camp.
4 years now.
Yeah, but before that with celebrities and other athletes outside of boxing, so.
For fighting, for boxers, do you think that you can create a system that would be more affordable, like a meal prep system?
Sure.
For those fighters that can't afford, because 40 grand, bro, some of these fighters not even getting paid 40 grand.
Yeah, no, for sure. And that's, And I understand that everybody can't afford the services that the wife and I provide, and that's okay. We're okay with that. I started doing the meal preps. I started giving away stuff just to get my name out there. My wife was working on people, pro bono, or, one athlete would pay, but then 3 were getting work because we understand the grind and we know what it takes to make it. So we go through those processes, and now we're here. So we will always do our best to help the fighters. And I think when I retire, I'll loop it back to the beginning and help people, whether it's through a company or through a team, create meal plans and formulas that can be put into shakes very easily. Like you said, you mentioned you throw it in a bag. All you got to do is mix it with the water and a juice or whatever, and you're good to go. So,
yeah, I mean, like, just kind of, because I know so many guys that, the goal is obvious to get to where Devin is at, but
Sure.
that is a long road.
For sure it
That
is.
is a very, very
takes
long
a
road. And
lot of
even Devin's
dedication.
road was long because he started it at a very, very young age. So,
I mean, shit, he's 28 and no, and he's only 23 years old. Like, damn.
yeah, and that's why I wanted
But
to
his
say
work ethic is ridiculous.
That's why I wanted to say it the way that I said it, because his age could give a person the idea that he hasn't worked as hard. But boxing is a different, it's a different animal
absolutely.
altogether. But yeah, we got guys like a Jalen Phillips, you know what I mean, who puts in that work. He's in that gym, but he's had a rough beginning. He wasn't an amateur standout, and he took some fights he shouldn't have took. But he's starting to look good, but he can't afford 40 grand. You know what I mean? So, like, a system where a fighter can get 3 meals a day that, no, they're not as detailed as what you're doing for Devin because you're hands-on, but something that'll keep them on track, because what happened yesterday happens all the time.
It's terrible. Terrible.
This is just a high level. This is just one that's going to be scrutinized because of the belts, but, like, fighters miss weight every day.
I know this.
I mean, we had a fighter in our other studio at the Win, and he took the David Benavidez fight on 16 days notice.
15 days notice.
As soon as he hung up the phone, he went juice only. So that obviously can't be healthy,
Yeah, well, I wouldn't recommend a juice only for a combat sport athlete, but it's where do the priorities lie? Is it all about making weight, or is it all about performance? Do you want to come in between somewhere? You have to. It takes sacrifice, it takes dedication, and it takes mental fortitude. And I've seen guys when you're in camp that they're like, I'm gonna just go ahead and have this. I know I shouldn't eat this, but I take care of it, whatever. And it's those moments that can add up, and then you get to fight week and you're like, uh-oh, how did I get these extra pounds? Or, how come this isn't coming off like it should? So I think there's something that can be learned, and definitely that young fighters need to understand is, guys, you have your whole life. Stay focused for 10 weeks, 8 weeks. It might be difficult at first, but I promise you it gets easier. And once you feel that difference, you're going to want to maintain and avoid the things that you shouldn't have, whether it's refined sugars or, the ice creams or the pizzas or whatever. Because, man, when you come to the bright lights and you shine and you don't get tired and you feel like you could step on the gas for 12 rounds, that's an amazing feeling. And that's going to want you to keep that momentum going. Then you finish with your fight, take a week, take 2 weeks, do whatever you want to do, and then get back to work.
After this, I'm going to connect you with the owner of Foodie Fit.
Okay.
That's who has me and Danny looking amazingly
I was going to
fit.
say, man.
And
this guy's handshake is like rock solid.
I would be more inclined to buy more Foodie Fit if they had a James Lockwood, kind of package where it's for fighter. Exactly.
And
collaboration
they actually
package.
just did a collab with
Sabor.
it was with the restaurant out here. So
Yeah.
I'm sure they'd at least be open to.
And see, something like that I could do is I can just say, okay, we need A, B, and C, X, Y, and Z in between. That's a great starter package, and you could do something like that real affordable.
Your prospect, your fighter prospect package from, James Lockwood, because people need it. They need it. But I got some questions from the people. I got Brandon in Houston, who's a bodybuilder, so I'm sure this is going to be about fitness. He says, if a person had a strong enough mindset to eat the same meal at breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day in order to get shredded and have optimal performance, what meal would you suggest? I knew it.
Man.
I actually have that mindset. Danny doesn't. He hates it. Like, I've gone through their menu, pick what I like, what's the least calories. Like, they have a mac and cheese. It's like 680. I don't want that shit because I'd rather have my Kit Kat at night. Let my calories be on the Kit Kat. So, I went through their menu, picked the same 3 that I like, and just give me that. I can eat it every day.
If you're good, I'm not a big fan of the same thing over and over and over again. One, your body gets used to it, but if it's working, if it ain't broke, don't fix it type of thing. But for a bodybuilder and somebody like that, I would say a high protein breakfast. Carbs and fat are important, so maybe we're saying, 45% carbs, high protein, and then get those carbs in after to replenish. So eggs, potatoes, avocado for breakfast, get some kind of fresh vegetable juice, fruit juice if you can. Post-workout, you're thinking like, pasta or rice, something like that. And then dinner, depends on the timing of dinner. I like to give guys a big dinner if it's early enough. So by the time they're going to bed, they're kind of finished digesting and metabolizing, and then their body can focus on recover. So it's a tough question to ask.
How many calories is in a dinner normally? Or do you not calorie count?
No, I just count every single calorie that goes into my guys. But it all depends, 600-700 to 1,000 or more. It depends on the athlete. Yeah.
No, of course, because
I worked with athletes before that are consuming like
but I know because Pacquiao would drink like a 6,000 calorie shake because he was burning like 7 or something like that. It was crazy. I forgot what 24/7 that was.
What are you looking to accomplish? You want endurance performance, really big muscles. So that plays a role.
Coach, I'm not gonna lie. I would love, at the right rate to do like a mukbang. Like,
what
because
the hell is that?
I was gonna say, I don't know.
You guys don't know what a mukbang is? Oh man,
no, it just sounds like some dirty pornography.
No, a mukbang is literally you're doing a video while you eat. So I would love for you to like walk us through one of your dishes because I'm gonna be honest with you, every dish you post or one of your, I'm like, damn, that shit looks good. I feel like plating is very important to you. And presentation is very important to you.
Eat with your eyes first, right? So it's gotta look good, especially if you're maybe in a calorie deficit in a fight camp. You want it to look good too. But I'll walk you through a meal I made for Devin last night. So we did chicken breast. I do like an Indian 5-spice. Sear it in the pan.
Okay.
We're getting 7 ounces of chicken.
Wow, that's kind of tiny.
Yeah.
Because I go to, people going to laugh at me, but I love Applebee's, and then it's like 8-ounce steak.
I
look at that little ass steak.
We're 20 days away from the scale.
No,
right?
I hear you. I know why, but I'm just thinking for myself, like, damn, 7 ounces.
Right, so that's the protein part, and then there's other parts of protein that come into the meal as well. But we'll do a cup of white rice, jasmine steamed rice, and I add some little ginger powder to that. Okay, we'll slice an avocado, toasted pumpkin seeds, little sesame oil.
A slice or like when you say avocado, what half
so
of an
half an avocado for
Mexican avocados or
Haas avocado, organic, seeded, split, sliced, and then I'll take coconut milk, organic peanut butter, fresh ginger.
How much? Like a scoop?
2 tablespoons of each probably, and they're not getting all of that. That'll be reduced down to a sauce. Some raw herbs over the top. I'm a big advocate of the benefits of raw foods. I would never tell somebody to have strictly a raw food diet, especially in combat sports, but there's little essential phytonutrients and semi-essential plant chemicals that can really help out.
I've done it for...
Yeah, my guys always get the benefit of a raw food diet. They get the benefit of a carnivore diet. They get the benefit of a keto diet, a high-carb diet. It's just based on what and when. So how hard are we training? On off days, on Sunday when we're not, doing much, we're going to pull back on things. When these guys are sprinting at Mount Charleston, high calories. When they're working with Reggie Hobson, strength and conditioning coach, high calories, high carbs. So But that's
Damn, so it's kind of day to day.
it's day to day. Everything changes. So there is no, and this is why, yes, you can create a meal plan that's pretty right on. But the reality is, if you have the opportunity to have somebody changing and seeing those calories every single day.
Well, what the
based
meal
on the
plan
day.
still could suit is that off time. Because
Sure.
these fighters, not everyone is as disciplined as a Sean Porter that, you know, in between fights doesn't balloon up. So if they had that, you know, Lockwood meal plan to stay on in between fights. So because like, I love that I'm on Foodie Fit because now I know if I ate my breakfast and my lunch, I know exactly how many calories I have. If I feel like taking my wife out to dinner, I can. I know how much
Sure.
I can eat. I know how much I'm going over. I'm not feeling crazy and I'm not ballooning. So I don't know. I think the numbers is power.
Yeah,
you know,
100%.
having that information really helps you make the right decision.
And I let the athletes I let the athletes I work with know exactly where we're at. The other day I told Devin, okay, now we're coming down just a little bit more. Make sure we're open communicating. How are you feeling? He feels strong. Talk to the coaches. He looks strong. I'm getting everything I need in the gym. Great. We're right on track. So, yeah, super
Do you
important.
Yo,
have,
like,
like,
look at
approved-
this, bro. Like, this looks better than most brunch places.
Yeah, that looks good.
4 fucking pancakes, all the nuts,
Walnuts,
look,
honey,
Look, the bananas. The
strawberry.
bananas are all cut 1 inch, 1 inch thick. That's it. And oh my goodness,
You should
bro.
have sent it to me so I could screenshot.
This is
But
beautiful.
I appreciate it.
what the hell was I gonna
Just
say?
sent it to you.
What I was saying when you jumped in, Lord.
Meal preps. You've
No,
been
no,
talking
no,
about it for
no.
like half an hour.
No,
You won't let that go.
No, because there's people that need it.
Okay, and
It's, you know,
and
this guy's such
No.
an elitist. We got that other fancy
No. See,
studio, and he's like, it's like, no, bro, give everybody an
No.
opportunity.
yeah, but I get where he's coming from. It's like we didn't work, then we didn't have to do that,
and I get it
and
too.
now we here.
So this costs. This isn't like iPhone stood. Listen, hear me out. Hear me
No,
out.
I
They're
li-
destroying the world.
I-
all right.
I like the
They-
meal prep.
They
I'm
started
just saying,
with just the expensive
it's been
phone.
half an
Eventually,
hour.
what did they do? Give you a mediocre phone and a fucking mediocre watch. They're not gonna leave that money on the table. You're leaving money on the table. Answer this,
But trust
smart guy. Answer this. Are there more elite fighters or more mediocre fighters? How many A-class fighters and how many B's and C's and D's,
Yeah, but
bro?
how much are you
and
making
those
off-
D's still have dreams and ambitions
and
to
that-
be in there.
Yes,
100%.
but I'm just saying, them B's and C's can't feed you, can't pay all your bills sometimes. That's
He don't
all I'm
get-
saying.
He don't get the SE model.
Yeah,
Right, right.
There's
bro,
this is a
I was
iPhone
just telling you what you
Max
was,
Pro.
You was like,
there's
damn.
still like an iPhone.
Yeah,
you
no.
know what I'm
Flip
saying?
phones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, and you were just saying word I leave off on. I'm like, oh, we've been talking about.
No, that's not. You went there. But anyway, Ruin 504 says, what are the common mistakes people make when attempting to lose weight?
Stop eating, stop drinking. That's the most common, I think. Because when you're not giving your body what it needs, it's going to go into survival mode and it's going to hold on to everything for dear life. So
Bro,
you're
I
not
tell
gonna-
my girl that all the time.
You know,
She thinks she's going to survive with 1 meal a day.
no, you're not.
It's crazy.
And to know what your body does, understand what your body does, figure out how many calories you burn at rest. If you just laid in bed for 24 hours, that's a pretty simple formula to figure out. You can Google it online. And then
What?
eat accordingly.
Lay in your bed for 24 hours.
So your basal metabolic rate, that's if you just sat still for 24 hours, your body burns calories to breathe, to metabolize, to digest, to detoxify. So you figure out how many calories that is. For example, somebody your size, your stature, your muscle mass, you're probably, close to 2,000 calories a day just if you sat still. 1,800 maybe,
Burning.
Burning.
No way.
Bro, yeah,
I wear my watch
no.
all the time. I don't burn that much.
So
It doesn't tell you that
he thinks this is like the most accurate thing ever.
It is.
So
such a hater.
I want to say it's like
It's changed
60.
your life.
I think it's like 60 to 80. I don't wear it half the time. I think it's like 60 to 80 an hour just sitting. Is that accurate about?
It changes from person
Okay.
to person, and it changes. Everything plays a factor in that. Your age, your current weight. But that would be the three things. If I could tell anyone, understand what your body's doing, and then make sure you don't starve it. Give it what it needs when it needs it. If you're laying around and you're not doing anything, you're going to be sitting on the couch playing video games. You're not going to burn a ton of calories. So you can pull back on those days. If you're out running, hiking with the girlfriend or the wife or swimming, you can increase those calories. So people ask me all the time, when's the best time to like get a little cheat meal in? Is like, before or after a workout maybe, not when I don't like when guys are like, oh, Sunday is rest day. We're gonna
cheat day.
That's not a good mix. That's not a good mix. I try to give my guys everything they want. If they're saying, I'm craving ice cream, okay, well, we'll figure out the best time to give it to you.
That's what I was gonna ask. Are there any approved like candies? Because I'm sure these fighters are craving.
Devin and
sweets.
the boys eat chocolate every day.
Okay.
I
Because he shames me for my Kit Kats, man.
I fold a little bit of chocolate into these snacks. I give sweet treats. You talking about the pancakes,
Yeah.
It's all about timing. When these guys are going to go run Mount Charleston, sure, we can eat pancakes with syrup and berries and stuff like that,
Okay.
So it's just about finding the right time.
Yeah, so that's why it's important for you to be there. Because if you don't know I'm going to the mountain today,
Right.
and I have a standard meal, I might not run the miles or the mountain in the
Sure.
amount of time that I need.
May
to.
need more calories.
For sure. You also
But
don't wanna
again,
get up there and feel empty.
it'll still help the fighter that isn't an elite, man.
No,
I'm
and
telling you.
I don't disagree.
Like, what is,
I don't disagree
some of
with
these
it.
other fighters, they're just winging it,
course,
off
yeah.
of what they see on TV.
And they're trying to do their best.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I get it.
I'm curious. So, being a nutrition coach, have you ever worked with an athlete that? Because I've seen them boxers that drink outside of camp.
No, I haven't. Well,
Oh my God.
I've dealt with going out and having a glass of wine with
Yeah.
dinner, but not during camp. And I've never dealt with anybody who was like taking it to the next level with alcohol. So never had to deal with that, fortunately. If they did, I never saw it. You know what I mean? But I would be able to tell. Most of the athletes, this is why I'm so grateful, because the athletes I work with are truly dedicated and they're all in 100%. And they know that, if your alcohol is, it's not going to do good things.
We hear some boxing trainers say, I'm not working with every fighter. Are you like that? Are you
Selective.
Are you selective? Will you turn a guy down that maybe you think isn't as dedicated or as passionate?
Yes, because it has to work for me too. I don't want to feel like I'm nagging somebody or like trying to babysit, So I've turned fighters down, not based on like, oh, I heard rumors that this is bad. I stay very busy, like I said, the wife and I. So, it has to work. It has to be a two-way street. It has to work both ways. They got to really want it. And I'll always, if I'm available and everything works, we're going to give it our best shot. We're going to, go all in. But, I would definitely turn a fighter down if I didn't think it was going to work out on our end.
Let me go to the bodybuilder on the line because he's one of our co-producers, but he's remote. And he just texted me and said, well, I eat 1 meal a day. So I want to put him on with the professional. Put him on, Bo.
Yes, sir.
Is that him at 346?
You know it like a poet.
Brandon.
What's up, James? What's up, Danny?
How are
James,
you?
I appreciate you coming on, man. You're a super informative guest. I appreciate stuff like this, man. I love stuff like this.
My pleasure.
I was just taking this that I eat 1 meal a day. I do intermittent fasting, and I do because for me, like I'm very undisciplined. Like I'll be eating instead of tracking calories. I'll be eating. If I just don't set up that time and just not eat, I find myself eating some bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
So I found that me stopping at 8 and eating again at 12 definitely stops it. It just stops it. I don't have any choice not to eat any bullshit. And then I went to 1 meal a day, so it's normally between 2,500 and 2,700 calories a day. Okay. And then at night,
but how do you even get that down? How do you eat 2,700
calories? I track my calories.
Yeah, but how do you eat 2,700 in
Slow
one?
and steady, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I know, Brandon. What I'm asking you, no, I'm not being sarcastic. I'm asking you a question. How do you eat 2,700 calories in one sitting?
It's pretty easy. I just eat 2 or 3 things at one time, and that's it for the rest of the day. And I go back to work. First of all, I get 22,000 steps in a day. That's number one. So I know that I'm constantly moving. And that time when I'm not eating, I'm burning fat. I know that. because I'm walking all the time at my job. I'm just sitting down just to call y'all. But normally, like I said, I do a lot of moving, and it's been working for me. I got a six pack at this point. And you won't believe it, but I definitely have a six pack right now. So doing this 1 meal a day.
So what do you think about that, Coach? He's saying he's intermittent fasting, moves around that much, taking in that many calories.
Plus working out. Dude works out every day.
Well, you know, this goes back to kind of what I said before. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And why I always talk about everybody's different. So what works for him isn't necessarily going to work for the two of you, perhaps. But he's found, probably I would imagine, over time and trying out different things. And like he said, that keeps him away from eating the BS. So, you know, my remarks to that is like, stick with it. It's working. You got a six pack. You as long as you're feeling strong in the gym, you're feeling strong in the gym. You know, I would make sure you're staying hydrated, because that makes all those processes in your body more efficient. So
let me tell you, James,
a gallon more a day.
I hate to interrupt you, because I know. Let me tell you, me, Daddy, and Ness went to the gym, Jay Press's gym. We met up with Shakur and Jared Anderson, and Jared Anderson made a point to tell me I'm not drinking enough water. He tells me that I should drink, so I wasn't drinking enough at all. But ever since I met Jared Anderson, every single day I drink 1.5 gallons of water during the time that I'm not eating. In the morning to lunchtime, I'm drinking nothing but water.
Yep.
And so I get my hydration during that point. I'm constantly moving, and like I said, I've been dropping weight. I'm getting shredded. I got a six-pack. Ness don't believe it, but 1 meal a day been working. And like I said, I drink a meal replacement shake at night, like one.
But that's what I'm saying. And James,
I'm good.
I hate to interrupt you, Brandon, but this is exactly why I'm saying, you know, collaboration with my good friends at Foodie Fit, because look at what he's going through. That sounds like torture to me. That sounds like too much work. 22,000 steps, going to the gym every day, one fucking meal a day, sitting down and eat 2,700 calories. That's a pile of food. Now, hold on, Brandon.
That's you.
But hold on, Brandon. Now me, I wake up. I don't eat from 4:30 till after this show. So at 10 o'clock, 9:40, I eat my first Foodie Fit. 384, whatever calories they put in there. You know, I eat those meals, and I almost got a six-pack. So you got one. Amen. I ain't even try to get one, and I almost got one. So, like, that sounds like a lot of work to me. It could be working for you, but that sounds stressful.
I don't know. Like, I've done it both. Hold on, Brandon. I've done it both. Like, I was raw vegan, intermittent fasting.
Wow.
I would only eat during a 4-hour window. 20 hours off, 4 hours on. And I promise you, that 4-hour window was more than enough. I didn't even crave food during those 20 hours.
I don't know how.
Yeah,
and that was just
staying consistent with something.
I'm not eating for pleasure. I'm eating, really honestly, I'm not caring about eating for pleasure. I got a goal in mind. I'm very goal-oriented. I got the mindset to do it. And it ain't nothing for me to do. Like, I don't feel like it's torture. The 22,000 steps come from, like, by function of my job.
Okay, now I'm confused. I was kind of on your side. Now I'm confused. So what was the purpose of the call?
Because Ness told me to call in. He wanted me to call.
Yeah, because of the whole 1 meal a day.
Well, see, another thing that for Brandon specifically,
and like James just said, everything works for different people. So, like, if it works for me, I don't feel full. I don't crave food.
Well,
I'm good. Like, I enjoy it.
When you're not eating, Brandon, you mentioned you were drinking. That's when you get in your
water,
right? So now that water will help kind of satiate you a little bit as well. It'll give you that kind of pseudo full feeling. So. And it sounds like to me that you're eating the right things in those 2,700 whatever calories, because you're not having a lot of cravings. So
no.
Yeah, and the weight will come up once. And if you're consistent with that process, like it sounds that you are, you're going to see results. Your body is going to rid itself of what it doesn't need, assimilate the things that it does need, and you're going to be feeling great and looking great.
So when's the unveiling, Brandon? When you showing the world the six-pack?
I mean, I don't have any urgency to show it. I'm still like, I probably feel like I'm like 11 pounds away. I took a body scan. I did a body scan the other day, and it said I was at 16% body fat. So I want to get down to like 12 or 11, even though that's really not sustainable. But I want to get down to that point and then show it and get back, stay around 15 or year round. That's what I want to be. But for me to be at 17% body fat, I'm excited. I can't believe I got down to that. I was literally 300 some pounds, bro. So I'm good.
The only complaint I had when I was doing that was that you don't learn portion control. Like for the first time in my life,
you got portion control.
Now I've learned portion control. But like at that time,
you would pig out because you got that 4-hour window, 2,700.
Nah, see, I mean, I was
lawnmower.
See, nah, I mean, yeah, I'm saying I was raw vegan. I don't even know how long he's doing his intermittent fasting for, but it was like, regardless, you got to get your meal in, so there is no portion control.
And that's what I like about the Foodie Fist. So like, it's now when I go outside of that, you know, like I would go to these restaurants, they're giving you way too much food. It's way too much. And you don't know unless your body is accustomed to a certain amount, so it shuts off basically. But when you're just eating wildly and there is no portion control, you eat those big ass plates that each restaurant gives you.
Yep, and they're probably high sodium, and they're probably with some kind of saturated fats or whatever oils they're cooking things in, and you know, so yeah, it's crazy. It's tough. It's crazy.
So, what is your background? Like, were you a chef? Did you learn on the job? Did you go to school for nutrition? Like, what is the start, I guess?
All of the above, everything you just mentioned. So, my brother's a classically trained Cordon Bleu program chef. Our original goal was to open a restaurant together. He was going to be the chef. I was going to be the front of the house guy with all the charisma and running the show. And then he had children, and the whole plan changed. So, we come from a athletic family, so as a kid I was always taught about the importance of nutrition. Couldn't have sugar, couldn't have caffeine, nothing came out of a box. My grandparents.
What? Yeah. No caffeine?
No caffeine, no sodas.
Wait, I thought coffee was good if it was black.
It is. I'm just telling you how I came up.
Oh.
Yeah. Caffeine is good in the right amount. But to answer your question, so fast forward, after all of that, learning that, okay, we're not going to open the restaurant now, then I moved to the Yucatan Peninsula and started running a program with a great team that was world class.
Hold on, what?
I lived in Mexico for 4.5 years, and this is where I kind of put it all together for me.
Okay.
I started a business, traveled the world, was running retreats, teaching people how to stay fit, how to eat healthy, how to keep their mind right. And then after that, I thought, okay, now let's go to school and study some more. So when I knew what I wanted to do and had a real passion for it, that's when I went to school, and study was easy, and I excelled, and I was at the top of my class, and then now here we are.
So
bougie.
So I'm curious because you said 2018 first time working with a fighter, but your wife's been working with fighters for 15 plus years.
Yeah, she goes way back.
So I'm curious, did she help you get your first, or was it team?
My wife and I have been together for 2.5, almost 3 years now.
Okay.
Funny.
Man, you got married right away.
Right away.
I want that story. Forget the funny story.
But here's an even funnier story, right? So this is kind of how we met. Boxing coach reaches out to her and is like, "Yo, I need a masseuse for one of my guys," and she'd been working with Leo Santa Cruz for a long time. Their family. And she reached out to this same boxing coach and was like, "Yo, I need a nutritionist for my guy. You know anybody?" Neither of them worked. I didn't go to her athlete, and she didn't come to my athlete, but that's how our names crossed, and that's how we met, and that's how we started talking. And then I kind of looked on her social media, and I was like, okay, damn, she's working with high-level athletes. I'm working with high-level athletes. We should probably meet and talk, and then the rest is history.
But how long before you popped the question?
2 years. We're recently married.
Recently. Newlyweds.
Yeah,
okay.
June. Yeah,
Okay.
June.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait. So after the Undisputed fight?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So how long before y'all moved in?
We moved in first.
So
like a year.
Okay.
And then she had a established place in L.A. I had an established place in L.A. I was closer to the beach. I like to surf, so I said, you got to come over and check this out. Yeah. So now we live in Redondo Beach, but we're never home, ever.
Hey, that's the work of that's the life of an entrepreneur, man.
Yeah.
Wow, but that's a beautiful story, man. Congrats.
How was that? You prepare Gennady, right, for his fight against Murata in Japan.
Yeah.
Then got to prepare Devin for his fight in Australia.
Jesus.
Then
Sounds
you have
like
to
an amazing
prepare for a fucking
amazing.
wedding. How was those 3-4 months from April to June?
Well, I'm sure you didn't have anything to do with the planning of the wedding.
We tried to plan a wedding, but we quickly realized that there is no way we could plan a wedding because we get calls from different fighters every week, right?
So it was, you eloped?
No, we knew we had 4 days at home between camps. We said let's just go to a chapel.
Courthouse? Oh.
Yeah. We got to the chapel, put on the suit. She put on a very classic dress, and it took a couple hours. And I think my mom and her husband were the only ones there. We took a few photos, and we're as happy as can be with
No honeymoon because you travel so much, right?
We're going to Bali after.
Oh my God!
after we keep
I've
all the
been wanting
belts
to
in
go to
Melbourne.
Bali all my life. It's just so far though.
But we're going to be in Australia, so it's a 5.5 hour flight. I said, why not? We tried to do it last time. It didn't work because I had to go right to Gennady, and then she had to go right to Gennady.
Wow, look at those problems.
She also works with Norman Powell of the LA Clippers. So NBA season starts for her, and she's gone. Boom. So then we kind of separate and do our own thing. But in off season, we get to work together. So it's
That's
a great
amazing.
yeah, I've
it's
seen her work with Rampage
Yeah,
back
man.
in the day and
Yeah.
Klitschko.
She does it all, man.
Yo, it was funny because like the Klitschko, she's like she's
I
like
never
half
knew.
the size. Yeah.
Oh yeah. You know, the funniest thing is I'm not going to say any names, but she is all of this tall and, 98 pounds soaking wet. And
This tall? How
she-
tall? Like literally
5
4?
foot.
Okay,
Yeah.
five. Because no, that looked like
Well,
4.
yeah.
That looked like 4, and it's
No,
like,
I
oh,
was
wow.
gonna say she's there every day, but you ain't been a top rank in like a month. But yeah, she's there every day.
Every day
with
she
the
doesn't.
champ,
She's as connected to the athletes as I am. But the power and the strength that this little woman has is amazing, and the athletes will tell you firsthand. I mean, if she's working on rampaging, people like
right.
that, come on.
Absolutely. Bo, our next guest is here.
Okay, I have a few questions from
So,
the people
can you let them
before
in?
we get James out of here. We got Bougie and Broward that says, as a pescatarian,
Pescatarian. It's all
what's
right.
the best diet to have to cut weight but keep the muscle mass? And the best thing to eat right after a workout. Also working out minimum 3 times a week.
Whew, so a couple questions there. So he's a pescatarian, or she is he is a pescatarian. And repeat the first question, the first part.
What's the best diet to have to cut weight but keep muscle mass?
Well, if you're a pescatarian and that sounds like a pretty clean, healthy diet. Think of like the Mediterranean diet, right? So a lot of fish. You still get some good carbs, healthy fats. Probably be supplementing. I would say to keep that muscle mass, I would probably recommend creatine supplementation. That'll give your muscles what they need without, bringing in extra proteins and things like that. You get plenty of proteins, high quality proteins from fish. And then, so that kind of answers that question. And what was the third part, or the?
And the best thing to eat right after a workout.
Well, what kind of workout? It's all about we'll just say strength workout. You're pushing weight. You want to get carbs. Mm-hmm. Protein is the building blocks, obviously, but you want to replenish that glycogen as fast as you can, because your muscles have been broken down. They've, got rid of or depleted themselves of glycogen, pushing weight. So if you can put it right back in. Get those carbs in after your strength workout.
Carbs.
I'm
okay.
curious about how much time would you say you and the wife spend at home, like at your house?
Don't answer
per
that.
year?
Last year,
Don't answer it.
Less than
I'm
4
being
weeks.
serious. You seen what happened to Abner. I
True
wouldn't
that,
even
true.
answer that.
I have high-level security, armed guards, and big dogs. So
Well,
they
there you
take care of it
go.
when we're not home.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was just
We're rarely home, brother. Last year, like literally a couple weeks.
no, I mean, I was just saying, obviously, the dedication and the time commitment that goes into this. It's
No, yeah.
It's funny because
You
it
living
is.
with 'em.
We live with them, and we go from living with them to living with somebody else to living with somebody else, and we're grateful for that. But when you find that passion, it's not work.
Exactly.
Yeah. No,
I feel
that's
like
how
I'm
it is
on
with us,
vacation
yeah.
with these
That's-
guys, man. And listen to this.
That's what I'm listening to your story and I'm like in awe. It's like, oh my God, Japan. Oh my God, Australia. What? Bali is like, you have an amazing life.
Right.
Then you met what sounds could be a soulmate because you do
100%.
the same thing. So it's like that relationship could only grow because what you love, she loves. So makes
take
conversation easy.
We take full advantage of it. You know, we work out with these athletes whenever we can. We eat like them. We rest like them. You know, we learn from them. I'm around the highest level boxing coaches in the world learning. You know, I'm not trying to be a pro boxer, but it's nice to be able to know how to throw hands, you know, or to talk with the strength and conditioning coach. You know, yo, I'm getting a little older. How do I keep this?
For
you know,
real.
blah, blah, blah. So we take full advantage. We're grateful.
So do we. We ask all the questions
Yeah.
for the public and for ourselves. I got the last one for you coming from Jason in New Jersey. He says, what's the good portion of macros? For example, protein, carbs, fats per meal.
It again depends on what's going on, but you know, so we'll say strength and conditioning type work, you know, and a little bit of endurance training. 35% protein, 55 to 50 carbs, and then the remaining healthy fat, and then plus keep that hydration where it needs to be. But again, it's hard to pinpoint a direct number without knowing exactly how this person is training and what their goals are. But you know, that's rule of thumb, somewhere in and around there.
Bro, look, this is crazy. This is just and I was gonna say, I wonder when this was, but your wife with Dillian White, and I'm like, yo, Dillian looks like a teenager here.
Bro, she's been in the game for a
How
minute.
old is he there? How long ago?
That was 7 years ago, but
Oh, wow.
it seems so much longer. I promise you. I wanted to ask.
So wait, so that was for the Markham Tan fight?
I don't
It doesn't say. It just says training camp 2015. So circa 2015. So whoever he fought around
Because
that.
But
he
he's
fought
a big guy.
he-
She's a little. And
The
she,
first
you
time
know,
he ever came to America, not ever came, because who knows when he came to train, but that he ever fought was on the Crawford undercard.
she might have been in like Austria or one of those places at camp with him. I don't remember. She was abroad. She used to go to the UK, and like Rampage was in Japan all the time, and like so she's been all over the world. It's one of those things where I thought I knew a lot of people in the game, and then when we linked up and we go to fights, she knows everybody.
Who'd you work with in Detroit? Tony?
No, but Vanessa worked with Tony for a long time. They're like family. I
Okay.
was working with a non-fighter client
Okay.
in Michigan, and then she said, I got to introduce you to my family, so we were at Super Bad Academy for a little bit. Yeah.
Okay, just saw the picture. I was just there, I think, like last month.
I would
so.
love to work with Tony. I think we were talking about working together, but I had a camp lined up, so it didn't work out.
Gotcha. You got anything else?
No, those are all the questions. We're going to go ahead and take a quick intermission, take this picture with James, and be right back.
All right.
What up, YouTube family? Don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Help us get to that 1 million subscribers. We're on the road to 1 million. And obviously, we have other great content on our Patreon channel. So since this video is over, head on over to our Patreon and check out all the exclusive content or right here on our YouTube members.